Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. It is Thursday, May 22nd, 2025. That is 52225. If you're writing out the date, 52225. 52225. It is a Thursday. It is 9 a.m. Central Standard Time in Austin, Texas, where I'm broadcasting from. My name is Keith. I have been a professional developer for over 30 years. And I created a stream as a place to hang out for those who are in the job market and need a friend, a pal, a person, a friendly voice in the background while they get those job applications out. That's why I created the stream. I've been doing it since the beginning of the year, one of my New Year's initiatives. And we are 5 months into this experiment. And yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I wouldn't say that it's caught fire, the experiment. I'm also not spending a whole lot of time marketing or spreading the word about it. So if you know anybody who is in the job market, especially in tech, but not necessarily, but is in that grind of getting up every day and trying to stay motivated to get those job applications out, and maybe they just need an appointment with somebody. Just they need to know that, hey, somebody's going to be there to hang out with them when they do the thing. It kind of sucks when they throw their applications out into the void and rarely hear anything back. That is not fun. It's not fun at all. So we do two things on the stream. We take a look at job trends, job posting trends, and evidence of that graph that's on the screen right now is a snapshot of where we were probably 6 months ago when I made that image. So we're going to take a look at those and see kind of where we are in terms of the trend line of jobs in tech. And then we're going to talk a little bit about news that may or may not affect what goes on in the tech industry. Mostly it's stuff about tech, but sometimes it's just about the wider macroeconomic financial world, which also has its fingertips in the world of tech, the invisible hand that pushes things in one direction or another. If you have any questions about working in tech, about getting a job in tech, about anything tech related or job related, feel free to throw it in the chat. I need to open up my chat window there so I can see it. But I'm happy to address that. Again, been working in this industry for over 30 years, and I have a thing or two to say, a hot take every once in a while on things. I was reading articles this morning, and I was like, that I don't agree with that. You know what? I have a hot take on this, as it were. We'll see about that. Let's get into it. Let's look at those job numbers. All right. We got three graphs here. Job postings in the last 7 days, in the last 6 months, and in the last year, in the last 7 days. Everything's been kind of flat. It's been that way for a while. In the last 6 months, we'll see that we had sort of peaked in the fall after the run-up in post-election. And then after the inaugurations, everything was kind of flat. And then all the tariff talk led to a decline, first precipitous, and then a kind of slowly dipping as we sort of peeled back from the tariffs, but also understand that there's still tariffs in place and they are going to have some long-term effects on the economy. If we look back a year ago now, we were basically kind of at the mean this time last year, and we are below that now. Not a ton below it, probably 15% maybe below where we were last year, which overall is not awful, but last year was not a great year. So we were kind of hoping to be beating those numbers this year. hoping to. I've been slicing the data in different ways since the beginning of the year. So looking at these graphs, we can see that the overall job numbers for JavaScript developers, those people working on the web, which is a good indicator of kind of where tech is going. It has been for 25 years now. We can see the in-person jobs have been pretty flat. We had that dip because of tariffs and it's starting to climb out of that hole. But overall, the numbers have been pretty flat. When we look at remote jobs through that same period, sort of peaked in February, beginning of February, and there's been a slow roll-off on those remote jobs. Not a huge roll-off, but looks like a consistent downward trend on those remote jobs. If we break up that data by experience level and we look at in-person roles broken down by experience level, we see that the entry-level roles are in blue here, the mid-level role is in red, and then the senior level role is in yellow. And again, similar to those other numbers, where we saw kind of a peak around the beginning of February, and it's been a kind of a slow roll-off there. The trend line is basically flat for mid-level roles, but we are starting to climb out of that post-tariff dip, and it does seem to be continuing to go up. So fingers crossed. Let's keep that trend rolling. When we look at just remote roles by experience level, we'll see again not a whole lot of change for entry level and senior level roles, but there has been that trend line down for remote roles in mid-level positions. And that peaked about mid-February, it looks like. Mid-February, and then it's starting to roll off. So numbers not great. They haven't been great all year. I spent a lot of time on LinkedIn. Feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn if you have not. My QR code is right there on the screen. I'm always looking to grow my network of folks in tech. Made a new friend recently. It's kind of a pen pal. Made a new pen pal lately. I'll say I've been trading emails with somebody over LinkedIn, and I was looking to grow that network. This new person's in Kentucky. I've never been to Kentucky. I don't know anything about Kentucky other than the Derby, I suppose, and I don't know much about the Derby. But I was looking to grow my network. If you are in and around the Austin area, even better. But feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. The other reason I go there is because they got this nice little news feed, which is handy for what's going on in the news. And this was updated an hour ago, although the news dropped yesterday. OpenAI is preparing to make a new big foray into hardware. The ChatGPT maker has acquired I/O, the artificial intelligence device firm led by legendary Apple designer Johnny Ive. The all-stock deal will also see Ive step into a creative leadership role at OpenAI, where he oversees a family of new consumer devices, including one slated to debut in 2026. The acquisition is OpenAI's largest to date and comes weeks after it agreed to buy coding startup Windsurf at $3 billion. It is interesting that Johnny Ive went for an all-stock deal. That's a bold strategy, considering there's so much competition in there, because those all-stock deals come with generally a lockout. You can't just sell it tomorrow. But so that says something, I suppose, about that. But in general, I see a lot of goofing on them on the internet. The rush to market with AI physical devices that happened last year were all a bust. I mean, the only ones you could say kind of were successful would be like the Meta glasses. And it's not like you see those everywhere you go. It's not like there's huge adoption of them, but they did not try to overpromise with the glasses, and as a result, they didn't get nearly as much flack. So we'll see. I mean, obviously, if you want to go for pedigree, Johnny Ive is, as you say, legendary. He is legendary. Whether legendary, it's a good question. When it comes to the thing about about computers, about math, generally speaking, it's a young person's game. People who really. But then you look when it comes to things like design, you expand that more generally. I don't know. I think, designers probably can continue to do groundbreaking work later in their career. So, I don't know. I haven't been tracking his career. I like industrial design, but I don't rapidly follow it. I'm not sure what he's worked on recently, but when they talk about like, oh, he created the iPhone and he created, this and that, like none of those things have worked, in the last 10 years. So I don't know what he's been doing. Does he still have it? Is that even a form factor? Is there a correct form factor for this stuff? I don't know. Part of it is Google announced yesterday that they have, they're releasing their version of the kind of AI on your phone with a camera that you can turn on and point at stuff and have a conversation about it. And the demo was impressive. All these demos are impressive. But I have not played with the OpenAI one on Android. I installed it. I've opened it maybe twice. That doesn't fit into the way I live my life. If anybody has any shot, I think it would be best with the glasses form factor, but that has other challenges. I don't see that as an everyday thing. I could see wearing those glasses, if I'm heading to Mexico City and I don't speak Spanish and I had some glasses on and everywhere I looked, I would see an immediate translation of all the signs. That would be huge. That would be additive. That would be monstrous, especially if I was, my family took a trip a couple of years ago to Egypt. Like, I can kind of suss out Spanish because I live in Texas and I've seen a fair amount of it. Like, if I had to kind of, guess what some of this signs meant, I could probably use some context clues in my history to figure out that. But when I'm in Egypt, oh, no. That's all just a bunch of scribbles. That doesn't look like anything. So, having a pair of glasses on where I could, even if, it was just doing live translation of text in my visual field would be amazing. Amazing. Having said that, I don't need that around my house. I don't need that when I'm walking around the neighborhood. I don't need that when I'm down at the grocery store. And I don't need it when I'm having conversations with other people. I don't need it listening to my other conversations. So I don't know. I do not know. The other thing is I do wear glasses now, but these are reading glasses. And I only, use them when I'm working in front of the computer or looking at my phone. I don't need them for distance. So it's not like, and I've tried glasses that are transitional, that, the bottom half is kind of the reader glasses and the top half is just supposed to be glass. And I'm sure it's just glass, but I don't like them. I don't like them. It is a lesser experience of looking at my distance. It's still better if I take the glasses off to see distance. So. I don't know. We'll see. Time will tell. They certainly have enough money to play with. They've got the pedigree. We will see. But yeah, the internet is very skeptical about this. Very skeptical about this. Okay. Bitcoin is on a tear. I've talked about this in the past. And very little cryptocurrencies. But I check in on it. And, I'm not in the hole. I've made a little bit of money off of it, but I do not. I'm more open to it now that states are passing, like the state of Texas wants to pass a Bitcoin reserve, and the new administration is considering doing a Bitcoin reserve. I think it's mostly a boondoggle, but if there's a way for you to get in on a boondoggle, and it's going to happen anyway, seems kind of dumb not to do that. The question is, like, how quick is it going to happen, and can you get out before it all busts? Because it's all around scarcity, and there are huge players who've already bought a ton of Bitcoin, and at some point they're going to want to liquidate that when it hits the top price, just like all these nonsense coins. And again, huge shock to the system. You don't want to be on the backside of that. And that end, there's always there's all kinds of risks with that kind of stuff. So I don't know, $111,000. They've been saying for a couple of years now it's going to go to $1 million. So if it went to $1 million, my less than $2,000 would be $20,000. That'd be great. It's not money to retire on, but it's something, I suppose. It's worth a little speculative risk. We'll see. You got any crypto? You into crypto? You got a favorite crypto? I think I have 4 different cryptos that I have some cash into. Bitcoin being the biggest, of course. Amazon is not hurt by tariffs, says Javsy. Amazon shoppers haven't cut their spending despite uncertainty around tariffs. Wednesday, nor have the average prices on the site gone up in a meaningful way, quote unquote. He added, though some third-party sellers have instituted price hikes. The e-commerce behemoth previously took steps to minimize the impact of import duties, such as stocking up on some products. Rival Walmart caused an uproar last week when it said it would have to raise prices to offset the tariffs. Yeah, I think this is too early to read these quotes. So it looks like he was probably at some event giving a speech. He's talking to shareholders. It's too early to see the effects of the tariffs, number one. And number two, I would guarantee, they had this plan of saying that they were going to add an extra line item to your bill, to your cart, to say like, oh, this much of the increase in the price is included based on the tariffs. And I guarantee if they added that, there would be less people buying stuff. I think, it's good to know, but the reality is, like, if I go looking for, what did I look for? I looked for something yesterday. It's something I never bought before. I don't remember what it was, but it's something I hadn't bought before. And I go to Amazon. It's not like I was looking for it 2 months ago, and then I look again and go like, wait, it's $10 more than it was 2 months ago. What's up? I don't know what the price of anything is. So, like, if it's up 5%, if it's up 10%, I'm probably not going to notice that. For most products, like, you go to the grocery store and you buy eggs, you go to the grocery store and you buy milk, and you do that every week or every other week, and you pay attention to prices, you're going to see, like, oh, yeah, this is definitely more expensive. But most things we buy on Amazon, at best we buy, every other month or so, if there is some stuff that we, regularly purchase. It's not that kind of shopping. But yeah, like, my wife is doing a lot of gardening. She wanted a little water fountain feature, a little solar powered thing you put in a maybe bird bathy kind of thing, and it'll spray water up. And so I was looking for those, and I was like, oh, $20. Okay, $25. All right, I like the one that's $25. So the one that's $20. Let me go buy that. So I bought it. I don't know if that was $20 a month ago or $15 a month ago. It's just I looked at the price. It was a price I was willing to pay, and I bought the thing. So it's a little too early to be making these kind of statements. But this third party thing is an important note, and that is that Amazon started out as really just a reseller of or a platform to allow third party sellers to sell their stuff. And then, about 5-10 years ago, they started developing their own products. And frankly, when they, have their own products that are competing against those third party people, they can, stock up on their own products in a way that third party people can't, because they don't have big warehouses, right? Or they just don't even see it coming in a way that Amazon has got eyes into what's going on with the supply chains. So, they're going to stock up. Third party sellers are going to be hurt because they'll keep their prices low for their in-house brand, and the third party sellers are going to go up with their prices. So they're going to really get hurt. What's the long-term benefit or issue with the platform when you're cutting off your nose to spite your face? Only time will tell. Only time will tell. Walmart plans 1,500 job cuts. Another round of layoffs at Walmart will affect corporate employees. The dismissals, announced internally on Wednesday, are part of a broader restructuring plan targeting inefficiencies and include its global technology and advertising units. Downsizing comes just days after Walmart and President Trump clashed over potential price hikes tied to tariffs. The company is the nation's largest private employer with around 1.6 million employees. Yeah. Yeah, that just seems like the sign of the times. OPEC is putting out more oil, and they're thinking about increasing it again, which is interesting. I mean, there's more return to office, so more people, like my wife, has got a return to office notice this year, and so she's driving to work every day, and she wasn't doing that a year ago. So I'm sure there's some more need for production, but $64 a barrel is not great if you're in the oil business. That's shutting down wells in Texas if it's at $64 a barrel. So I wonder what the goal is behind that. I don't know much about the oil and gas industry. Cigna caps copays on GLP-1 drugs. They capped their copays to $200 a month, a sum that would count toward the patient's deductible. Currently, only half of Cigna's clients cover Wegovy and Zepbound due to their high cost. The new deal, set to begin in the second half of 2025, also includes a streamlined pre-authorization process for patients. The news comes a week after CVS designated Wegovy as its preferred weight loss drug. I'm about 40 pounds overweight, and I have been for a couple of years now. And I have looked at these, and because I've looked at these, I get tons of ads around it. Whenever I'm on any kind of social media, I'm just inundated with ads. And it seems like there's a ton more of the ads around the pills instead of the injections. And I haven't looked very closely at it. It seems like if there's a pill that does the exact same as the injection, most people would opt for the injection. I mean, for the pill, not the injection. But I don't know. I don't know that much about it. Okay. Months after Meta slashed about 5% of its workforce, the company told managers to add more employees to their lowest tier in the upcoming mid-year performance reviews. Set to begin on June 16th, an internal memo reviewed by Business Insider shows that for teams of at least 150, Meta expects managers to mark 15 to 20% of workers as below expectations, compared to its goal of 12 to 15% last year. However, there will be no company-wide performance terminations, unlike earlier this year. Well, okay. We'll see. We'll see about that. And then our final story of the day before we wrap it up. Canada Goose defies slowdown. Canada Goose sales rose in the last quarter, beating analyst expectations as the company pulled its fiscal 2026 forecast amid uncertainty. Chief Operating Officer said 75% of Canada Goose's products are currently exempt from import duties due to compliance with the United States Mexico-Canada agreement. The other 25% primarily come from Europe and face tariff increases, said to have a minimal impact on the business. The luxury sector has shown signs of overall weakness, with top brands, including LVMH, reporting slowing sales. You can read that in a lot of different ways. If the price goes up on a whole bunch of other alcohols and the prices aren't affected by that, then there's the people are going to opt for the less expensive name brand. But the other question is, we've seen all these stories about like how with aspects of legal weed all over, the sales of alcohol are down across the board. So what does that mean? Interesting. All right, we done did it. We're down at the end of it. Okay. We're going to be back in 23 hours and 30 minutes. For a Friday, we'll wrap up this week. We got one more week of the month, and it's going to be a big week for me. My son is graduating from high school on Friday of next Friday, not this Friday, but next Friday. And this is going to be a 3-day weekend because we've got Memorial Day on Monday. I'll probably still be streaming on Memorial Day, just out of habit. That is likely. We'll see. But I got to figure something out. I want to do a big, since we got a 3-day weekend, I want to do a big, do a project this weekend. I got to dig in. I've been wanting to do a bolt project. And I think this is the weekend to work on that bolt project. I'm excited about another project right now, and it doesn't fit as a bolt project. So that's all I've been thinking about this week. I've been working on it, so I don't know what to do. When you're excited about a project and you've got all that enthusiasm and you just want to, it's just like consuming you. You think about it day and night, and then somebody's like, here's another project to work on. I'm like, no bueno. Okay, well, here we go. I will see you in 2023.